Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pocono Raceway. I'm your host, Mark Murphy, joined as always by Jalopnik.com reporter and IndyCar competitor in the iRacing IndyCar Series, Ryan Eric King. And we are here tonight for the NASR Votive IndyCar Oval Series. It is round 4. We are at the turning point of the 7-race schedule. It's Pocono, 100 laps, 250 miles, at one of the trickiest and most challenging super speedways that many of us will ever see. Ryan, welcome in. What are your thoughts on tonight's race?
Oh, it is all about strategy and track position. Being from New York City, Pocono in some ways is my home track, and to be fast here, you have to really be in tune with the car. Whether learning, being aware of your setup, and knowing what to do with the in-car controls. Just maintain your position and try to jump people using strategy.
Absolutely. And speaking of that strategy, we have had quite a bit of that in the first 3 rounds. We're going to start by looking at the point standings. Josh Ward is going to lead it. He's on 116 points from Akesh Rajesh at 101. Gary Lovren is third, 93 points. Nick Wheeler fourth, 91. Baron Glover rounds out your top 5. He is on 85 points. Josh Ward, Craig Forsyth, and Will Stearns have each won one of the first 3 rounds. Last week at Texas, Craig Forsyth did take home the trophy. He won from Josh Ward. Craig is not here this evening. Neither is longtime IndyCar competitor Julian Altina. So we may be seeing, we may have a night tonight, Ryan, where we're going to see one of the newcomers dominate. That's going to be one of the stories that we continue to follow. Although Pocono is a track that favors experience, wouldn't you think?
Yes, where you're you're better at Pocono the more miles you spend going around here, because you have to be very precise with how you place the car in corner entry and exit, and knowing how to get a drive off each corner.
Very good. Speaking of those corners, Pocono is unique in that, unlike any other oval track on the schedule, it is not an oval. It's not a road course. It is a triangle built in 1968. It was designed by IndyCar champion, Indianapolis 500 champion Roger Ward. It has 3 distinct corners, and each one of those corners, I'll remind viewers, is modeled after a different track. Turn 1 is 14 degrees in banking. It is very wide, higher banked. It's modeled after Trenton. Turn 2, 8 degrees of banking, 90 degrees. It is known as the tunnel turn, and you can see the tunnel that goes under it, giving it its name there on the blimp shot. It is modeled after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 8 degrees of banking, 90 degree corner, 90 degree left. And then you get to turn 3, 6 degrees of banking. It's kind of the one that's not like any other, very wide, very flat. It is modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. It's considered a tri-oval, but it's not really. It is more of a triangle. And you'll note when they come off of turn number 3, there is a nice sign on the wall that says "What turn 4." Past winners here are a who's who of IndyCar racing. Rick Mears, Will Power, 2 of the Grand 500-mile race champions have won here. AJ Foyt has won a race here. The track records in qualifying, 211.715. That was set in 1989 by Emerson Fittipaldi. That's kart machinery. The IndyCar track record was set in 2014, and it is the overall track record is held by Juan Pablo Montoya. The track record for a race, and I believe this was one of the first 500-mile races ever held, where the race average was over 200 miles an hour. That was also 2014. It was won by Juan Pablo Montoya. The most open wheel wins is held by AJ Foyt, but the track king, 9 wins in the ARCA series for Tim Steele. It's a name you don't hear very often. But Tim Steele won 9 races here. That's pretty amazing. This track also was home to one of the oddest races ever to take place. That would be the 1980, golly, was it 80? 1981 Van Scoy Diamond Mines 500. That was the That was toward the end of what is termed historically as the first IndyCar split. AJ Foyt was the winner, which should surprise nobody. What should surprise you is that, sanctioned by USAC, they didn't have enough cars to fill up the field. USAC invited Silver Crown pavement cars to flesh it out, and it was kind of run as a dual race. There were 18 Indy cars, and they were joined by 15 dirt cars, uprights, that completed the race distance. I believe Jack Hewitt was the highest placed of the upright cars. He finished like 11th, and he was 18 or 19 laps down. And that was the last USAC. That was the last IndyCar race run under USAC sanction until we got to the Indy Racing League, other than the Indianapolis 500. So, interesting bit of trivia there. We are in the middle. We have started qualifying, and I'll go ahead and bring in the graphic. Nobody is on track right now, at least having recorded a time. Well, maybe they're done qualifying. Maybe we're in the warm-up. I do not have results yet, so no worries there. But 5-minute warm-up. So we have entered that 5-minute warm-up period there, Ryan. Have not seen a grid, though.
No.
Let's see if we get one pulled in.
Yeah, while we wait, I should know, one of the things that you should look out for at Pocono is turn 2, the tunnel turn. There's a bump in the middle of that corner, and it is very difficult to race anyone side by side through turn 2.
You know, it most certainly is. It looks wide and inviting, but you do not want to go through there side by side. It's almost like going through a corner at Darlington or exiting turn 4 at Motegi. It's almost like the wall at the exit of that corner wants to jump up and grab you. And the car gets pretty light over there, so it's really difficult, especially if you're not on top of the tools. It's really difficult to make that corner. We do have the grid ready for us. So on the pole, James Watson, 218.069 miles an hour. He'll be your pole sitter. He's joined on the front row by Edson Santos, and then the number 78. 0.003 of a second, Ryan, between those two cars. Starting third, Luis Gonzalez Nunez, LGN, is going to take the number 14 to the inside of the second row. He'll be flanked by stock car ace Matty Wagner, newcomer to this league, although a ton of open wheel experience coming out of that 4-hole. Fifth, number 77, Nick Wheeler, 217.783. Outside of him, Gary Lovern. He'll start sixth, and the number 29. The 306 will be seventh. That's Will Stearns. Josh Cruz will start eighth. Cordell Lofgren will be ninth, and John Napier rounds out your top 10. Starting 11th, Dylan Brannon. 12th, Mason Mitchum. 13th, Turner Johnson. 14th, Akash Rajesh. Akash has been fast in the first three races, so look forward to him coming toward the front. Greg Robinson will start 15th. Baron Glover, 16th. Scott Schrader, 17th. Armand Juan Petrovich, 18th. Iker Piguero will start 19th. Do we have anybody, Ryan, that did not qualify?
Armand's Juan Petrovich, Iker Piguero, and Shane Croker. Those are three non-qualifiers who will be lining up at the back of the grid.
There we go. Very good. The weather here right now in Pocono, Pennsylvania, or the simulated version of it, 91 degrees on the track, 77 in the air, almost ideal conditions, really, for an IndyCar race. The rules here are going to be a little bit different than we've seen for the last three rounds of the NASR Votive IndyCar Series. It is 75% fuel here instead of the normal lesser fuel allotment. And series organizer Shane Coker has given them an extra set of tires. So there's 4 sets on the pit wall instead of the normal 3. And that is because they want to give the guys the option to save a set, but still have tire strategy be involved. Pocono is very much at this distance going to be a 3-stop race. And so you want to give guys a chance or the option late in the race to come down and take tires should they so desire, or you take that set early and see if you can run long. That is one of the things you mentioned, Ryan, is the strategy of Pocono. It is it's probably one of the more strategic places because you don't lose a lap when you pit under green here.
Yeah, you don't lose a lap, so the window to pit is a lot wider than you normally have because you're there's less danger in choosing to come in at a atypical time during the race.
Yeah, and so a lot of times what guys like to do is they'll split this race into even segments, or you'll work it backwards, kind of like a road course race, where you'll pit as soon as the window opens. Because if you are left out on the racetrack and you run it long, unlike most places, running long here just means you're going to go to the back when the caution comes out if it's in a pit cycle, and you're going to have to do all that work to pass all the other cars one more time, and that is very difficult to do here at Pocono. So just about ready to hit the starting grid and get ready to rock and roll, and it's cooling off here too. The track down to 89 degrees. We see it. I'm assuming you've been to this place, Ryan?
Yes, I've been to Pocono. I attended the last IndyCar race here at Pocono.
Ah, I see. Very good.
Because if I recall, that was the rain-shortened 2019 race.
I gotcha. Looking now at the Team Watson Racing setups machine, James Watson. You cannot miss that car, can you?
Oh, without a doubt, it is bright.
And that's one we're going to probably see near the front today. This is probably one of the races, just like Texas, where I would think that the guys with a lot of experience, and we certainly saw that in qualifying, the guys with a lot of experience are going to be the ones up front here, in my estimation.
Yeah, because obviously the easiest opportunity to pass anyone would be those first couple opening laps, and you really have to be confident behind the wheel to make moves that early and that risky in the race.
Most certainly do. Giving you a look at some of the cars down the line. That's LGN looking a little racy already. You've got stock car ace Matty Wagner there in the Miller Genuine Draft Bobby Rahal livery, and they're starting to roll off. It is a long pace lap here, though.
Yeah, it's a long way around this place, and the run from the green to turn one is absurdly long.
It is, and that gives a great chance for guys to pass people as you go down the main straight, because you can get huge drafts going into turn one. The problem is once you get to turn one, you have to make the car turn. 14 degrees of banking sounds like a lot, but it's really not.
Yeah, because normally I try to get the car to bite in by letting off the gas and turning in at the exact same time.
And there's all sorts of different ways to make that. I tend to run a little bit of a higher line and try to come off low, catch the draft, go down the Long Pond straightaway, and slip to the inside of somebody going into turn two. You can really force somebody's hand when they get down into two. If you're on the inside of them, you can really force them out wide and basically make them cede the spot. The other thing is you're going to see exactly 314 different ways to get through turn three today. That place, it is super clean air sensitive, and basically it's a hunt, right? Find the clean air, and that's really all that matters through there. So you're going to see all sorts of different lines going through turn number three, which is where they are now.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is out. The race, the Pocono 250 for the NASR Series is on. Down into turn one, James Watson will lead it. Luis Gonzalez Nunez jumps into second from Edson Santos. Matty Wagner fourth, Nick Wheeler fifth as they haul down the Long Pond straightaway, and already LGN going to go to the inside of James Watson and go for the lead here. Everybody trying to shake out, get single file. You didn't see very many guys get high through that turn 2. And watch him fan out going through turn 3. Lap 1 in the books. Easy peasy. Luis Gonzalez Nunez leads it. James Watson in second, and he has a whole host of trouble behind him. Edson Santos looking to make the move. Matty Wagner looking to follow him through. Gary Lovern has moved to 5th. Wheeler 6th. Stern 7th. We've got Josh Cruz 8th. Cordell Lofgren 9th. And John Napier has just moved into 10th. And that's where the action is. It's right around Mason Mitchum, John Napier, Dylan Brandon, Turner Johnson. Those guys are all over each other going through turn 3.
Yeah, once you're further back in the pack and the dirty air really starts to affect you, it is so easy to just draft off someone, pass them, and then they draft off of you right back. There's nowhere to go when you're in the middle of this.
It has, and we're starting to see some separation now. The top 7, that is LGN, James Watson, Edson Santos, Matt Wagner, Gary Lovern, Will Stearns, and Nick Wheeler have all started to really kind of separate themselves. They've got a bit of a gap back to Cordell Lofgren, Mason Mitchum, Josh Cruz. That's kind of that second group, although they pulled up a little bit now. That's something that we would expect as Edson Santos takes the purple lap.
Yeah, because once you get that far back, sort of a mixture of dirty air and being slightly slower than everyone else starts to compound, and then you get that separation.
Very good. And MPS says hello, and he says it's the first time he races here with an open wheel car. Hopes he can have a nice, clean race. Well, we hope for the same. You never want to see guys get in trouble, have crashes, have trouble. There goes Nick Wheeler to the inside of James Watson. Put James back to 7th, and he is having all sorts of trouble early on here. Could that be a fuel map thing? You think, Ryan? You think old James is playing him a little bit on strategy here? Because normally in a draft that he's in, you wouldn't lose spots like that down the front.
Yeah, he might be trying to stretch out this first stint, maybe stretch out the second stint just to make that last one shorter.
Well, and it could be. We would assume that the fuel run here would be somewhere based on 75%, somewhere between 25 and 30 laps. Maybe James has figured out a way. Maybe the head of the old Team Watson Racing Setups group has figured out a way to make 33 or 34 laps, and if you can do that, you'll cut out one pit stop.
I think it would be possible to two-stop, but it would require a caution during one of the first 2 stints, and that caution would have to fall in a very particular time during the race.
Yeah, I was going to say it can't really fall. It's going to have to fall early in a run, I would think. Otherwise, you're just going to lose. You're just going to lose all your track position. Everybody else is going to get a free pit stop out of it. You want it doesn't need to fall in a cycle, in other words.
Exactly.
There he is. The other thing that kind of tells me that James Watson might be mapping it a little bit. He is running the bottom groove all the way around the racetrack, irrespective of the cars in front of him. He's not really worried about dirty air all that much, although we talked about him maybe saving fuel. He's working it right back to the inside of Gary Lovern. Meanwhile, Will Stearns has got the bit between his teeth. He's gone to 3rd, put Edson Santos back to 4th. Stearns is looking for 2nd on Matty Wagner going through the tunnel turn.
Got the line, he's got the move.
Oh, we got trouble. Edson Santos.
Yeah, it's setting over the radio as car's damage.
Let's have a look at Edson and see what we can see here. Going through the tunnel turn, it looks like he caught some dirty air and just goes up and brushes the wall. A tough break for Edson Santos. He's going to bring that car down pit lane. No doubt wheel damage on the 78 machine. Back to the front, it's Will Stearns chasing Luis Gonzalez Nunez. James Watson 3rd. Matty Wagner was 4th, put him back to 5th. Dylan Brandon has taken away that spot. So Matty Wagner 5th, Gary Lovren 6th, Wheeler 7th, Mason Mitchum 8th, Greg Robinson 9th, Cordell Lofgren is 10th. We are getting ready to come to lap 9 of 100 here at Pocono. Josh Ward says he wishes he was here racing with us. And Josh, we wish you were here too, man. You've been a bullet all year, and I know other commitments happen and other things happen. So we hope we see you. We hope we see you next week for sure. Dylan Brandon goes to the lead.
Yeah, he's pretty much rocketed to the lead once it's clear that Stearns was going to sit behind LGN.
You know, I wonder if these guys have been watching the broadcast, and started thinking about maybe starting to save some fuel, maybe thinking that 33 or 34 lap stint might be possible if they map and they save enough, because there's not really much of an effort by anybody to start going in the front. And I'll say this too, that's a valid strategy from Dylan Brandon, because I recall an open race here where everybody was running around fuel 5 and they had a very specific fuel number to make. I, of course, knew nothing about fuel mapping or anything like that, and turned my car up, rocketed to the front. I was able to break the draft. And
yeah, that would be the key, to stretch the field out, break the draft, so no matter how much they save, they can't catch you.
Yep, I was able to break the draft and pulled out to like a 10 or 15 second margin. Had to make an extra pit stop, but had it gone green the entire way through, I would have caught the tail end of the field before the end of the race. And they were all just, lined up, running around half throttle. Nobody wanted to lead. And I said, well, absolutely, I'll go right on ahead. It got a huge run coming off of turn 3 on, I believe, Robert Malech. No, it wasn't Malech. It was Jacob Oster. Rocketed around him and then did the snake thing and broke the draft going through turn 1. And that was that, and started pulling out, almost a second a lap. Problem was, though, there was a caution late, and it bunched everybody. It negated my advantage because then everybody was able to come in, take enough fuel, take new tires. And I, of course, had fried my tires in the chase, right? So wound up finishing, I think, 8th or 9th in that race. But it's a valid strat. If everybody's saving fuel, go to the front, see if you can't either force the pace or see if you can't break the draft. Will Stearns has gone past Dylan Brandon, and so Stearns is going to lead it. One thing we haven't seen yet is the swap, Ryan.
I think for us to see the swap, we need to see two teammates in a position to do so. I don't think we're going to see a lot of inter-team collaboration, so to speak.
Well, sometimes, though, your friends are kind of where you find them, aren't they? Craig Forsyth and I swapped positions at Indianapolis in the Dark Horse 500 for a better part of half the race. Craig and I are most certainly not teammates. Matty Wagner was my teammate for that race. Shout out to LC Motorsports and Mark Cohn watching here on P1. But sometimes your friends are where you find them. A lot of that comes down to who you trust, though, doesn't it?
That is true, and we're a decent way through the year. We all are starting to ease in with each other, starting to fill up our mental notebook of who we can and can't trust.
Who we can trust, who we can't trust, who's a smooth guy, who might be not so safe to be around. By the way, give you an update on Edson Santos. He did come in. He did make his pit stop. He did not use his fast repair. Edson is back on the speedway. He is 34 seconds in arrears, and he is 0.2 of a lap faster than anybody else on the racetrack. His last 41.677. So just to give you an idea, the leaders are running 42 flat. Caution is on the speedway.
Let's see if we can find out where this took place.
Turner Johnson. Let's see what happens to Turner here. He's going through the tunnel turn. Everything looks like it's in ship shape there for Turner Johnson. Apron bad, Ryan. Apron bad. And Akesh Rajesh going to miss into the bottom. So it looks like we've only got one car involved. Everybody takes evasive action. Good job there, but a good lick for Turner Johnson. He's going to need to come down and affect his repair there.
But as we were mentioning earlier, you need the caution to fall in the right place, and I think this is it, because it's a bit too early to think about coming in.
You know what? It most certainly is. It most certainly is. To me, you're going to need... pitting here doesn't really do much for me, right? 15 laps in, if you pit, you're going to go to the back. If you pit, you're going to go to the back. If you stay out, you're going to have track position. And if you stay out and get track position, this might be the thing you need to make it 2 stops. You get what? 3 laps worth of... What is it? What's 3 caution laps for every green flag lap in fuel, is it, Ryan? I can't ever remember.
Roughly.
Yeah, roughly. So we're going to run 4 laps under yellow here, and they're going to burn essentially 1 lap worth of fuel. Although it appears as though everybody is going to come down pit lane. Will Stearns leads them down. LGN stays out. So there's your first stayer outer. And we're going to have others that most certainly do. Greg Robinson in the 00, he's going to stay out. Everybody else, though, more or less, Matt Wagner stays out. So the top 3 stay out. Everybody else is down pit lane. We have completed 16 laps of 100 here at Pocono. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Greg Robinson, Matt Wagner are the top 3. They are not pitting. Everybody else is on the pit lane. Will Stearns will lead that brigade out. Baron Glover stayed out, so the 93 is going to move into the 4 spot.
I probably would have opted to stay out. I don't think it's worth going on to an alternate strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing it affords you maybe is freedom. These guys are probably looking at it now. It's no matter what, it's 2 stops to the end for them, no matter what, right? The other thing is, 46, 70, yeah. You're 2 stops from the end no matter what. But what you don't have is track position. So LGN and Matty Wagner, the stock car race, they're out there. Those 2 guys are veterans. They are veterans of the wars, and they're going to understand when I say this. If they can start working together and start swapping, coming down the long pond and then going into turn 3 or going down into turn 1, which is where you do it here. If they can start affecting that slingshot, they can save fuel and be faster than everybody else.
And the thing is, like you said, you could definitely make it to the end on one more stop.
I still think it's going to take 2. I think you're still going to have to stop. Even if you go 30 laps, you're still going to have to stop at 46, and then you're going to have to stop at 46, 47, and you're still going to have to stop, 77, 80? LGN and this crew, they're trying to make it to 30. They're going to want to make it to probably 34, 35 at least. So they may be banking on another caution yet. But they've got track position.
Yeah, which here is key. So
very true. Greg Robinson did pull his car in. Baron Glover stayed out. So the 2 veterans, Nunez and Wagner, run 1-2 here. Lights are out on the pace car. Give a shout out to Baron Glover. We haven't talked much about the 93 machine. There he is. He is currently 3rd. Some other guys that we haven't mentioned today, Mason Mitchum. He's in the number 3. That's the McLaren alternate livery. He is 9th. And Akesh Rajesh did not have a very good qualifying run, but look at Akesh. He's 2nd in the points. He's made it up to the top 10 in the 07. Cordell Lofgren have not shown him much. He is in the Dan Gurney Eagle liveried number 83. Scott Schrader, he is 12th in the 74. We've got Josh Cruz. The power team, that's the AJ Foyt tribute, is 13th. Edson Santos has recovered from his sojourn into the fence. He is 14th, and rounding out the top 15, Shane Coker, highlighter yellow, Menards looking car, Votive Racing League, P1 Broadcasting on the side. Good to see that for Shane Coker. He is 15th. Luis Gonzalez Nunez puts it up on the fence, and that is the preferred way here in IndyCar. Everybody restarts all the way up against the wall because you cannot pass to the left before the before the start-finish line. Green flag is out. Racing resumes here at Pocono. Lap 17 of 100 complete. Luis Gonzalez Nunez leads it, followed by Matty Wagner and Baron Glover. Now let's watch this blimp shot here, Ryan. Let's see if Matt and LGN try to do the slingshot and get away.
Looks like it.
There's one. Now the key is going to be if LGN stays behind here, gets the run coming off a 3 and goes back by going down the main straight.
Can't quite get there.
No, he wasn't close enough coming off a 3, so not quite. The thing is, they've got the car in third place. It's Baron Glover. Glover is probably not as experienced with these cars as the guys around him. Just by virtue of him being there and being a little bit slower than the other cars, these two might be able to get away just by virtue of that.
That's true.
LGN goes by going down into turn 3. Now let's see if Matty Wagner can build up the run. The stock car race in the IndyCar. Can he build up the run and get to the inside going through turn 1? LGN fast lap 2:18.841, and that's hauling the mail, my friend.
Without a doubt.
Give a shout out to Baron Glover. He has stayed third here, and I don't know if that's Will Stearns and Gary Lovern refusing to pass, or if it's him just being light on fuel and legit able to hold that spot. But Baron Glover must have hurt us. I said, he's a little bit less experienced with the car, maybe not able to keep up as much with the two veterans, and he's hanging right there, a tough third. He's not right up behind him, but he's certainly in the discussion, Ryan.
Yeah, he's running the Texaco line. He's able to keep pace by just simply taking the optimum line around the track, and you can't really ask for much more.
No, you can't. 21 laps out now for Wagner, LGN, and Baron Glover. Everybody else 5 laps into their current stints. Greg Robinson and Armand Juan Petrovich did pull it in and top up for fuel with 2 to green. So those guys have 1 more lap of fuel. I never did like to do that, by the way. Can you guess why, Ryan?
Because you lose track position.
Well, you lose track position for one thing, but the other thing is, I always thought I burned more fuel trying to catch back up to the pack than I got just by coming in and topping back off.
That is also true, where the amount of fuel you gain is very marginal.
Right. I mean, you might wind up with 3 or 4 hundredths of a gallon, which, that'll run one of these cars for 100 yards maybe. It's not much.
Yeah, not much. Like, it's the equivalent of, say, in football of, we got a caution.
We've got a caution. Cordell Langford has tested the safer barrier off of turn number 2, and let's see what sort of tragedy has befallen Cordell Langford in here. He's to the inside of Akash Rajesh. There he goes into turn 2, and Ryan, apron bad.
Very bad. Like, these cars have a lot of grip, and you might want to just yank the wheel to enter a corner, and sometimes when you do that, you arc it in too tightly.
You most certainly do. So Cordell Lofgren heads for the pit lane, and this plays right into the hands of Wagner, Nunez, and Baron Glover. Look at LGN weaving down on the bottom. He's trying to cut down any sort of distance he can.
Because if they were hoping for another caution, they got it, and they can stretch this out for as long as they can.
Yeah, for sure. And who was it that did that at Indianapolis in the iRacing 500? Was it? I want to say it was Nick DeGroot, but I can't put my. Was it DeGroot that did that running around on the apron?
I think it was DeGroot. I'd have to go back to be 100% certain, but it feels like it was Nick.
Sounds like something that Nick would do. Nick DeGroot, if you're out here, Nick DeGroot, if you're out here listening to us, buddy, we love you. You're one of the smartest guys that I've ever met. But that got him to the finish just by cutting that much distance off, going around the apron. So wholesale pit stops here. Almost the entire grid is going to take to the pit lane under this caution. LGN leads them down. See Matt Wagner, Will Stearns, Gary Lovern, James Watson, Akash Rajesh, among others on the pit lane. Nick Wheeler, Dylan Brandon, Mason Mitchum, Edson Santos, Shane Coker, your top 5. Josh Cruz in 6th, John Napier 7th, Turner Johnson 8th, Greg Robinson 9th, Iker Piguero round out your top 10. So that's your top 10. Armand Juan Petrovic is 11th. Those are the cars that did not stop. That's the top 11. Will Stearns, James Watson, Gary Lover, and Matt Wagner round out the top 15. LG in 16th, Ikesh Rajesh 17th, Baron Glover 18th, Scott Trader 19th, Cordell Lofgren is 20th. He is 2 laps down, and I believe he is still under tow. No, he's gotten away. Okay, so Cordell has gotten away, and he is going to go back to 1 lap down. Under caution, just about at the quarter pole. 24 laps complete, coming to 25 of 100 here at Pocono. It's the NASR Votive Racing League Pocono 250. So you watch much baseball there, Ryan?
Yeah, I watch a lot of baseball.
So you're a New York guy. Is it the Mets or the Yankees? And remember, your answer does have consequences from your.
Well, I grew up in the Bronx, so I'm a Yankees fan.
All right. Well, that's very good. So I am a huge Atlanta Braves fan. So although I don't have much love lost for the New York Yankees, they are not the evil arch rival. That would be the New York Metropolitans. And
I assume you had a very eventful Monday then.
You know, my dad texted me in the middle of the 8th inning and asked me how I was doing, and I said, the Braves bullpen would have saved everybody a lot of trouble if they just wouldn't have shown up to the ballpark today.
Yeah, if you just had your starter play a complete game, would have been perfectly fine.
Monday was the day that I ran out of Rolaids, Ryan. It was it was an interesting day. My wife hates watching baseball with me, especially when Atlanta's playing, because I absolutely am nervous. Like I pace and chain smoke, and I tend to enjoy 1 or 2 too many adult refreshments while I'm watching a baseball game, especially a high stakes one. And I also believe that the team and especially Brian Snitker can hear me from my house in Indiana down there in Atlanta, and so she tends to run away. But I don't know if you're that bad.
Oh, I'm not that bad, but be glad you made it to October.
Yeah, just barely limped into it. Of course, the Padres have a heck of a team. The Padres have a heck of a team, and that's going to be a wonderful series. Matt Wagner says, "Go Guardians." You would be a Guardians fan as well as a stock car ace, wouldn't you?
I'm just waiting for the Yankees to let me down and John Sterling down one last time.
You got to think positive, right? You got to think positive. So the field's going to come through turn 3 here. Nick Wheeler is going to lead him. Dylan Brandon 2nd. Mason Mitchum 3rd. Edson Santos 4th. Shane Coker is 5th. And we're going to give you this unique view here.
Green flag.
This is the fisheye view of the start finish, and the weave has already started from Nick Wheeler. Got to break that draft, don't you?
Yeah, and ideally you want 2nd and 3rd to start fighting to give you a chance to try to pull away.
Yeah, now it does. So when we ran the dark horse race here, the DW12s, the draft envelope is something like 0.6 of a second. These cars will pick up a draft at almost 2 seconds away. What 1.8 seconds is the envelope?
Yeah, that's when you're completely nose out.
So these cars do pick up a draft at a distance.
Oh, yellow again.
All right, we see the yellow. Oh, Armandzwan Petrovic upside down. Baron Glover, his car is broken. What have we gotten into here?
We got a bit of short shoot mayhem.
I think this is going to have started a little bit before those guys. So we're watching Cordell Lofgren. Ooh. Okay, so little bit of contact between Glover and Lofgren, and then poor Armandzwan Petrovic. He has nowhere to go. Winds up on his lid. Thankfully, everybody here has a fast repair left, except Cordell Lofgren. Lofgren is going to be done, I think. He has already used his fast repair. Juan Petrovic, my goodness. Let's just take a look. Let's just take a look at his ride. And if you're watching this in VR, I suspect you're going to want to take those goggles off, because here comes Armandzwan Petrovic, and here's what you see. And remember, this is halftime. Off the wall. There he goes. Can't avoid it. And take flight, Armands. You are now an airplane. And I did leave that in the gyro cam just in case, right? But that's a wild ride. You see Armandzwan Petrovic on pit lane. So Nick Wheeler still leads it. Brandon second, Mitchum third, Santos fourth, Shane Coker fifth. And there was one more car. I believe that was the 74 of Scott Schrader that got a broken front wing in that melee. Does that sound accurate to you?
Yeah, that is accurate.
Gotcha. And we're gonna see Scott come to pit road here.
Yeah, it seemed to be the incident being one of those things where someone taking a wide line through two realizes they're not going to make it. They start to slow up, and then the guys behind them have nowhere to go.
Absolutely. Now the strategy is flipped here. LGN, James Watson, Matt Wagner, they are coming to pit lane. They just stopped 4 laps ago. Wheeler, Brandon, Mitchum, Santos, and Coker et al. Have been out 12 laps, inclusive of Josh Cruz, John Napier, Turner Johnson, and Iker Piguero. Will Stearns is 10th. He stopped just under that last caution, as did Gary Lovern, Akesh Rajes, and Greg Robinson. Wagner, Watson, Nunez, and of course Scott Schrader have all come and pitted again. And so they're going to have just that much more fuel as we get back to the green flag. So if those guys are stopping and they're giving up the track position, that tells me as we watch James Watson roll around under caution, there's Matt Wagner, the Kyle Larson liveried car of Greg Robinson. You always have to show that one for Gary. He likes Kyle Larson livery in Indy cars. Kesh Rajesh there in the picture. But that tells me that they think they're close to doing this. Because those guys would never give up track position otherwise, wouldn't you think?
That is true. Because yeah, it is we're sort of getting back to what you want to do in terms of strategy, typically just by the nature of where this particular caution fell, and it's either you have the fuel to make the next stop or you don't at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the car of Iker Piguero, the Bucky's machine. He is 9th. Haven't talked about Turner Johnson at all. He's 8th. That is the major performance machine. Good-looking car. John Napier, 7th. Rogue Energy. That is also we got a lot of colorful cars in this one, Ryan. A lot of guys with some standout paint jobs. Josh Cruz, we mentioned him earlier. The 22 Power Team car. Name that car if you can, Ryan. You're the IndyCar writer. You got who that is?
Not off the top of my head.
That would be the livery. This one would be the, and I'll go back to it. This would be the Power Team livery. That is the paint. That is the livery that Kenny Breck won his Indianapolis 500 in. Power Team car.
Oh, you were right.
That's right. 1998, 99, something like that. It was. He ran out of gas in that race at one point, and it caused AJ to express his opinion of the fuel mileage calculation by taking at the time what was about a $7,000 or $8,000 laptop and letting the laptop know it was the computer's fault. Emilio Ruiz, Vamo in NMPS. Good to see you here. Matty Wagner, stock car race, now claiming to be the NASCAR Jeff Bodine. We're going to come back to green flag action here.
Green flag.
Start lap 30 of 100. Nick Wheeler going to lead him away. Dylan Brandon second. Mason Mitchum third. Edson Santos fourth. Shane Coker fifth. The snake begins. Watch him fan out through turn 3 from the P1, or through turn 2 on the P1 blimp. Headed down through turn 3. A lot of dirty air being thrown up from Nick Wheeler on Mason Mitchum. Mitchum has to check up. They're going to go down the front straightaway, and all that does is open up a massive lead for Dylan Brandon. He pulled out to almost 0.4 of a second.
Like I said earlier, that's something you want to see as a leader. The second and third fighting each other, because a lot of the time when you're leading here, you're just sitting down.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of fighting for positions, that's Gary Lovern, James Watson, Matt Wagner. They are following Iker Piguero, 12th, 11th, 10th, and 9th. These cars are all cars other than Lovern that did stop under that last yellow. We're watching Wagner. We should get up here and look at Watson because he's coming toward the front. Those guys want to stay within reach of that draft. They do not want to lose the front 7 that are all together. And there is a gap between Iker Piguero. It's about a second between Turner Johnson in 8th and Iker Piguero in 9th. James Watson, Gary Lovern and company do not want to lose that.
Meanwhile, Mason Mitchum's taking the lead, heading into turn 2.
Yeah, these guys are having a heck of a fight up front. I did want to show that battle because that's going to be huge. If Iker Piguero loses that draft, that's going to put paid to a couple of cars, Matty Wagner and James Watson, that would be among Will Stearns, who's won a race this year. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, LGN, also fast. We're watching Mitchum go around the outside of Dylan Brandon one more time. And Edson Santos, another veteran, has snuck up there in the 3rd. But if they lose the draft, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, you're stranded. There's no way you could. There's no way on just pace alone for you to catch a large group of cars ahead of you.
And so the top 3 is fairly stabilized. We'll go back and show you what we're talking about here. Iker Piguero has. They have to be listening to the broadcast because Iker Piguero has caught, more or less, caught back up to the pack in front of him. Gary Lovern now, there's a bit of a gap back to him, but these guys are in the draft now. There's no danger of losing it. At one point, Iker Piguero was a second behind Turner Johnson, and now we're going to see him move to the inside of Turner Johnson, or at least give it a shot. Gary Lovern's going to take advantage, go to the outside, and Wagner not quite close enough to follow past the Buc-ee's machine. I bet we see Matty Wags pull out a line and make that move down toward turn 1, though. What do you think, Ryan?
Oh, I would give it a go.
There he goes. He's not quite got enough steam, though. The draft is so powerful going down that front stretch. It's very difficult to make a move into turn 1 if you're deep in line like this. It's much easier to do it coming off of 1. What happens is if you come off of there, Ryan, you know this, you got to check up a little bit coming off the corner over there if you don't have the line just right. So you can get a huge run. Problem is, Matt runs into a wall of dirty air getting off the corner and just loses a ton of time.
Yeah, you always have to compensate for the dirty air. Either, drive a different line to stay out of it, or have your car pointed in a bit closer than you should, just because you're going to get that aero wash.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go on board with Shane Coker and see how he's coping with that. This is 6th place, number 32, Shane Coker. We're going through the tunnel turn there. You hear the lift in the car, and you see him kind of spread out a little bit. Now we're going toward turn 3, and he's going to try to pick a line. Didn't quite work out there, and you see the push because he didn't make it work. You're going to try to pick a line through there where nobody else has run. Just find the hole and put your car there. See what he does through turn 1, Ryan. Well, he had to lift. He had a car that got some dirty air on exit, had a car to the high side, and that's Gary Lovern taking 6th spot off of Shane Coker from Shane Coker's roll bar. And we'll go back to just the regular action here. Looking at Shane, he's running a strong 7th. Wagner has not made progress. He is remaining 10th. Nobody that stopped under that. He is the highest place. Nobody that stopped. Oh, we're going to have contact.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
That is Turner Johnson, and he has taken a hard lick into that front stretch wall, and that started way back in turn 3, Ryan.
Yeah, he got loose mid-corner in 3, saved it, but that meant he was going up way slower than the rest of the field.
Just kind of watching him here go through turn 3. Does he too much weight jacker maybe and just kind of turned it loose with him? He dirt tracked it the whole way through. Wagner pulls to the inside. There goes Piguero. Will Stearns can't see it. Stearns, okay. Let's go back and watch it from the perspective of Will Stearns here. And we're going to get on the gyro cam for Will Stearns. And this is what you see. And remember, this is halftime, fans. So he's trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, there's a little bit of contact there, isn't there?
Yeah, a little bit of contact. It was simply, there was nowhere to go, and before he realized that he had to swing towards the pit wall, it was just too late.
Yeah, this is exactly what Will's seeing. He didn't see that car going slow until just right there, and by then you can see the rev counter going down, but it's by that point it's too late. So back to live action. We are 39 down of 100, so 40% complete here. Dylan Brandon leads it from Mason Mitchum. Edson Santos is 3rd in the Lerner Energy Machine. Josh Cruz 4th. Nick Wheeler 5th. Gary Lovern 6th. Shane Coker 7th. John Napier 8th. The stock car ace, Matty Wagner, has made it to 9th. Will Stearns rounds out your top 10. LGN, Luis Gonzalez Nunez is 11th. James Watson 12th. Greg Robinson 13th. Scott Schrader 14th. Akash Rajas 15th. Iker Piguero 16th. Baron Glover 17th. The aforementioned Turner Johnson is 18th. He and Armand Juan Petrovic are on pit lane, as is Baron Glover. They are all laps down. And we're going to see pit stops here coming to lap 40. Now, I'd be willing to bet that Wagner and that group that just stopped are going to stay out. And these guys are going to come in and pit here. Although, is that... no, that's not Akash Rajas. So, Wagner, Gonzalez Nunez, and Watson all stay out here. Greg Robinson is also going to stay out, although historically it seems that he comes in the next lap, does it not?
Yeah, I think it's either he's not comfortable pitting with the rest of the field, because pitting the next lap is not the best for maintaining track position.
It's not, but give Greg Robinson his due. He's out here. He's keeping the car clean. He's getting a little bit of TV time here. And part of this, 250 miles is a long race. The average IndyCar race is 200 miles, right? That's Grand Prix distance, and so, this is longer than what most of the races in the real series are. To win one of these, you have to be very patient, and a lot of times the patience will pay off. And we'll just watch Greg Robinson roll around here under caution. But good job for Greg.
Yeah, good job.
Show him a little bit on TV for Greg Robinson, the 00. That might be a missed opportunity. If he could find somebody to paint him a Buckshot Jones, what was it, Aquafresh, was it?
Yes, the Aquafresh livery.
I've said this because Remington Arms was big in sponsoring stock cars back about that same time. Remington missed a massive marketing opportunity in not sponsoring Buckshot Jones. It looks like Greg's going to stay out there.
Yeah, I think it might be. It's probably the way to go. You get so much track position because so many people came in the pit, and I'm pretty sure a couple people came in the stop before.
Yeah, I mean, and your Wagner, Nunez, Watts, your Wagner, LG, and James Watson, those guys know what they know what they're about as part of this, as part of driving this car, and they understand exactly what the fuel limits are. They know exactly how far they can go. They also know how to save, and every race, as you know, Ryan, it takes on a kind of its own personality, I guess, if you want to say it that way, and this race has been characterized by short spurts followed by caution. And so I think they're banking on a couple more of these. And they want to be in position to make that final stop as soon as possible. And they don't want to lose any track position before that happens. You're getting close here. They've been out 13 laps as of now. But a lot of that's been under caution, has it not?
Yeah, it's been a lot under caution. So if at the ballpark, I'd say they could probably go for 18, maybe 20 more laps.
And that puts you at lap 61, which means you got to go 29, and that's right on the edge of what we think is possible. And so, why come in and stop now? Why not go until you need it? The lights are out on top of the pace car. They'll turn it left. The green flag is up and in the air. Barney has it.
Green flag.
He's going to wave it. The race is back on. Matt Wagner leads Luis Gonzalez Nunez and James Watson, the three veterans, going through turns 1 and 2. Greg Robinson is maintaining fourth. A ways back in fifth. Dylan Brandon, Edson Santos sixth. Mason Mitchum seventh. Josh Cruz eighth. Gary Lover ninth. And Nick Wheeler is going to round out your top 10. The front three do have a bit of a breakaway. About, half a second back there to Greg Robinson?
About, but that could evaporate in an instant.
It can, although you mentioned, Greg's certainly doing a good job up front. Greg Robinson is, but also maybe not as comfortable being up there. Not a guy with a lot of experience in the car. 1266 I rating, and so he's up there with some pretty fast dudes.
That is true, and no.
Hold on to it. Hold on to it, Greg. I believe he saved that race car, Ryan.
He did. I probably would not have tried to move so late in turn 2, but he kept it off the wall.
Let's relive that from Greg Robinson's van.
Oh no, Greg! No.
And now we've got Greg Robinson in the wall. So caution back on the speedway, lap 44. I was just going to show his save, and he's collected Mason Mitchum as well. Now we're going to have to go back and see what has actually befallen Greg Robinson. I see him following. That's going to be. Golly, that's they're 3 wide. That's Josh Cruz on the bottom, and he's going to get just tagged a little bit by Mason Mitchum, and up into the wall, and heavy damage they go. Tough break. Greg Robinson having a great run, and tough break for Mason Mitchum. I don't know that I would have chosen to go 3 wide there, though, Ryan.
That is true. I wouldn't have chosen to go 3 wide there, though the person who did make it 3 wide got out unscathed.
And that's kind of what happens a lot of the times. The person that makes it 3 wide is often not the person that pays the price. And it's a racing incident, and we're not the stewards. They have live race control here in the NASR votive series for that purpose. We're not race control, and we're not going to assign fault. But it just seems to work out that way a lot. That the guy that made it 3 wide gets away with it.
Yeah, because the person who usually makes it 3 wide is very comfortable with being in that situation. The other 2 didn't choose for that to happen.
Very true, very true. Watching Matty Wagner lead him around here under caution behind the iRacing pace car. Wonder if they'll stop now. It would seem to me it would be a comfortable 1 stop from here, should you choose.
I would come in.
Well, Wagner, Nunez, nobody stopping. First car in is going to be Nick Wheeler.
Now, I said it after I realized how long the broadcast delay was going to be. I didn't want me to choose their pit strategy.
No, it's interesting to see. We've got several different thoughts. Mitchum, Wheeler, Rajesh, Schrader, Baron Glover, all on pit lane amongst the lead lap cars, and they all go out. Interestingly enough, those cars all very short stops. 4.4 seconds the longest for Schrader and Glover. Gas only.
Yep, gas only, and their tanks weren't that empty. So, quick splash, get out, maybe hopefully not have to go all the way to the back of the line.
Very, very true. So the available strategies out there are these. Matt Wagner, the stock car ace, he's going to lead it. He and LGN have been out 18 laps, as has James Watson in 4th. Edson Santos is 3rd, Dylan Brandon 5th, Josh Cruz 6th, Gary Lovern 7th, Will Stearns 8th, Shane Coker 9th. They have 6 laps on their current run. Again, some of that is under yellow. Iker Peguero has been out 7 laps. John Napier 5 laps. He's 11th. Wheeler, Rajesh, Schrader, Glover, Mitchum, and Turner Johnson have all just stopped and topped their tanks up. Greg Robinson still sits on pit lane under tow. Armand Juan Petrovic, 20 laps in arrears. He's been on pit road for 24 minutes. Cordell Lofgren has retired. He will be credited with 20th place. LGN does the dummy. I don't think Matt's going to fall for that, Luis. So that ranks up among one of my more embarrassing moments. We talked about one of them, which was dumping the clutch at too high of an RPM at Texas and crashing on a broadcasted race. In a non-broadcasted race here, I tried to do that dummy and ran into the end of the pit wall, put myself out of the race.
No. You never want to do that.
You do not. But you got to be careful when you're trying to be cute like that, right?
Yeah, and it can backfire. Now, admittedly, it does pay off sometime. One race here at Pocono during a restart, it was 1-2. I was in second. Leader of the race was real-life IndyCar champion Alex Palou. And Palou thought it'd be cute if he didn't stay up against the wall heading towards the restart and kind of leave room for me to see if I could take advantage.
Oh, no.
I pulled up pretty close alongside him, but I pulled up too close. I couldn't see him. So
No.
it took too long for me to react, to the point where my reaction time was slow enough that by turn 1, I wasn't up to his attenuator yet. He had effectively broken the toe.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No fun. And that is one of the most awesome things that you can do in iRacing. Very early on, I had the opportunity. It was in an ARCA race, of all things, at Nashville. The top 3 in that one were Josh Berry, Alex Palou, and then me. We're going to see him come off at turn 4 and get ready to go to green. Barney has the green flag in his hand. It's in the air, and it is a waving. Green flag is out. Racing is going to resume. Matt Wagner gets the break. He's followed by Luis Gonzalez Nunez in second, Santos third, James Watson fourth, and Dylan Brandon, who owns the fastest lap of the race, is fifth. But no, that's I had occasion to have a pretty long conversation. We're going to watch LGN dive to the bottom on Matty Wagner going into the tunnel. Had an opportunity to have a long discussion with Nim Cross, who is the chief steward of iRacing, and you know, we were kicking it one night. We were having a really good discussion in Discord, and Nim, you know, asked me what my favorite thing about iRacing was, and I said, there is no way for me to get on the field, even in a simulated way, and stand at Petco Park tonight and play, you know, second base for the Atlanta Braves. There's no way for me to do that. But here, I mean, we've all had a chance to race against our heroes, and so. You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes here, and he runs quite often. And when Dale Jr. steps into an IndyCar and iRacing, he's more in my world than he is in his. And
yeah,
so
it's sort of that thing as a kid that you play the games for, to play with virtual recreations of your favorite stars. But on iRacing, you're actually competing against them.
Yeah, I've never felt more inadequate. I was in a GT3 race somewhere, and Kimi Räikkönen popped in and just absolutely made everybody in that lobby look silly. I think he was like a second and a half faster, and it wasn't like it was a technical track. It might have been like Watkins Glen or something. Could not under the Kimi. You know, he's an amazing racer. He's on all the time. Max Verstappen's exploits are well known in the sim world, down to having a rig fitted to his jet.
Oh yeah, like I remember in 2020 when the F1 guys started trying, you know, testing the waters of IndyCar. And I had one practice session with Max and Lando Norris at Miami Homestead. We raced side by side, me and Lando, for 5 laps. And guy was driving at like a road course trying to run me out to the edge. And you can't do that on an oval because the edge is a wall.
You know, the best story that I have about Max, though, isn't even mine. It's Seb Alexander, so the titular head of Indy Alliance, although Seb won't claim that. But, you know, Seb, you know, was telling a story about how, you know, the difference between those guys and us. So, you know, we've all raced the Nürburgring, Nordschleife, and there's traditionally, the fixed series always has a race in Indianapolis. The Open Series, which is more road course based, it's half ovals, half roads. That series always goes to Nords. And they were doing an IndyCar. They were doing IndyCars at Nordschleife, and Max showed up. And Seb, you know, he related the story about how, you know, Max was not that good for 2 or 3 laps, but he picked up the car and picked up the line so much faster than anybody else. So, like the 4th lap, he was on the pace. The 5th time around, he was faster than anybody else. The 6th lap, it was adios. And the other thing is that he you know, would say is Max made the Reds last a lap longer than everybody else. So it's just the little techniques and things they do, fuel saving, being able to save the alternate tires and make them last just that little bit longer. And are, they're all things that we can learn from and admire in this world, just as we can their exploits in real life.
Yeah, it really makes me appreciate how good they are in real life.
Absolutely. Watching LGN and Matty Wagner, they're swapping the lead here. Edson Santos is, I think, just content to stay in the draft and watch because they've opened up about 8/10 from Santos to Dylan Brannon. So the front three are edging toward that line where they might be able to get away here and just decide it amongst themselves.
Yeah, let's see if they can break away out front to try to just break the toe. It's very hard here because the straights are so long. If you're in the toe, you will just suck up to the car ahead of you.
Well, and the other thing with that is, too, LGN and Matty Wagner are very, very, very smart drivers, but they're also very clean. Neither one of those guys is going to start weaving, at least not 54 laps, 55 laps in to a 100-lap race. They're not going to do the snake. Edson, he's going to school and kind of learning from two of the elder statesmen of IndyCars and iRacing. Same thing really with Brandon and Lovern. And then they have almost broken the draft back to sixth place Will Stearns. He's 1.4 seconds behind Lovern. And Will is all by himself. And then it's another second and a bit back to Josh Cruz in seventh. So the field really getting strung out here. By the way, we're through an inning in San Diego. The Padres loaded the bases on Max Fried in the bottom of the first, but Atlanta clinging to a 1-0 lead and a must-win. So one eye on the baseball game, one eye on the motor race. Luis Gonzalez Nunez slingshots back in the lead over Wagner, and now Santos is right there. The cars behind them, Lovern and Dylan Brannon, they are also affecting the swap now.
Yep, everyone is slow. Oh, we got stopping.
Yep.
Oh, LGN, I think that was a bit too hot into the pit lane.
Let's watch him. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Matt Wagner. They're coming in 57, coming to 58 of 100. 32 laps from the end of this one. Might not have enough juice to make it all the way to the rest of the end. And if LGN didn't get caught speeding, he was awful close. Let's watch here. Both cars up on the jacks. They're going to change tires, take a full tank of gas. James Watson slides into his pit stall. LGN gets away with it. Back onto the speedway for the 14. Wagner going to follow him out. And let's see. I don't think James Watson, I don't think he's going to be able to stay in their draft here.
Yeah, I think he's just too far back.
Now, I would think that Santos, Lovern, and Crew, that those guys that stopped 18 laps ago, they're well within range of one more stop. Matty and Luis, James Watson, they're going to have to make one more stop as well, yes?
Yes, they will. They won't be able to. They're not close enough to make it to the end. Not at all.
They are indeed not. Now, Edson Santos has found a friend, James Watson. And your friends are where you find them. James Watson's fixing to go a lap down here. So he's not going to fight Edson Santos because if Edson, who is notably fast and notably pretty smart, he recognizes that that highlighter yellow car is pretty fast, he's going to use James Watson to slingshot off of. Because Edson would love nothing more than to draft away from Lovern, Stearns, and Brannon, yeah?
Yeah, and if you know someone behind who's faster, this is one of the few places where you could let them by, sit in their draft, and let them tow you along.
Absolutely, and they have broken the draft. He has broken the draft. 2.4 seconds now back to Will Stearns. 41.722 for Edson Santos. Matty Wagner last time by, 41.334. So the 89 and the 14, Wagner and Luis Gonzalez Nunez, they're cooking, but they are 15 seconds behind the next car in line, which is Barron Glover, and he's 6 seconds behind Schrader, Mitchum, and Wheeler. So a lot of work to do for Matty Wagner, Luis Gonzalez Nunez. 35 seconds off the pace for those guys.
Yeah, it's sort of, you kind of have to put your head down, run your race, and just see how the strategy plays out, because you never know. Could be a caution around the corner.
Most certainly do. Then last time by Santos and Stearns even, it's 2.9 seconds. Watson has kind of given up, I think. Either that or Edson's decided he doesn't want to play nice anymore. But James Watson also knows Edson Santos is going to have to stop here pretty soon.
Yeah, we're reaching that danger zone. Because I don't know about you, I never pit when the tank is completely empty. I always keep a lap in reserve in case I have to, pull out of the pit entry because I'm going too fast and I know I'm going to get caught speeding.
Yeah, and well, we're going to switch back. I'm going to switch back, and we'll put it on Lovern and Stearns as they desperately try to catch Edson Santos, but they're losing time, 3.6 seconds in arrears. So that gap at the front is widening. Edson Santos a half a second faster than these two cars last time through. I'm always nervous about it, and the reason is way back in the day, Trey Shadid and I were working together a race at Phoenix. Will Stearns is now coming to pit lane, 22 laps coming to 23, so he's going to have definitely another stop. So everybody now has one stop left in this race after this cycle. So Will Stearns, the first to come in, we're going to see him come down pit lane. That's going to put Gary Lovern out there by himself. Cover the stop up on jacks for Will. Best battle on the track is this one. So that's Scott Schrader leading Mason Mitchum, who's used his fast repair to good effect, and Nick Wheeler. This is 8th, 9th, and 10th. And like I said, this is really the only close battle on the speedway. You've got Nunez and Wagner swapping, but that's not really a battle. That's two veterans working together.
We're sort of in that stage. You've seen a lot of these traditional IndyCar super speedway races of you work with who you got, and you try to run your strategy to try to advance your way up the field. It isn't really the close wheel-to-wheel racing you're used to at the intermediates and the short tracks.
Yeah, it's very thought-provoking, very cerebral. But back to my thing about fuel. So Trey Shadid and I were working together at Phoenix, and it came down to the final stop. And Trace was working the fuel strategy, and he gave me a number. So I come in, I fuel up my car, and I ran out of gas in the lead with 1 lap to go. And so my deal is, after that, I would always, if he would say the refuel is, 8.5 gallons or whatever it is for a fixed race, I would always put in 9.5 gallons. And I still do that to this day. So whatever Race Labs gives me, I always put in 1 extra gallon.
Fair. Because you always want to play it safe, because you make a mistake and it's permanent. There's no going back. There's no do-overs.
Yeah, I mean the same way that Chris Wilhite, and we're seeing wholesale stops now. Shane Coker, John Napier, Iker Piguero, those cars are all hitting pit lane. We'll watch John Napier stop here. He's going to pull the Rogue Energy machine into his pit stall. Car's going to go up on the jacks. Full of, what is it, Shell fuel now? Down and away.
Shell.
Down and away for John Napier. He'll rejoin in 14th position. Stays on the lead lap, though. Edson Santos is going to bring it from the lead. He's going to come down pit lane. Gary Lovern and Josh Cruz are going to follow him. Edson up on the jacks, and he went the longest, so he's got 33 laps to the end. That makes me think he ran 27 That makes me think he's going to come in, do a splash, and go for his last stop.
Yeah, seems like the logical move.
Now, where does Edson blend out? Akash Rajesh, he is out. He has 21 laps on his current run. And so that strategy may prove fortuitous. Rajesh, Mason Mitchum, and let's get Akash up here. Edson has rejoined right with LGN and Matty Wagner, which is not what they wanted to see. They wanted to be by themselves. Whenever you're doing the swap, you just want two cars. You don't want a third around.
Yeah, because the third is just a hanger on.
Well, not even that, but Edson is in front of them, and so they're not able to work the swap effectively.
That is true.
But these guys here, they may be in the catbird seat. They're on 22, 23, 21 laps, respectively. They may have a shot at going all the way here on one more. Watching Akash Rajesh lead Mason Mitchum, Nick Wheeler third, Scott Schrader fourth. That is the front four, and they are all more or less, as you see it, right together. Baron Glover is fifth, but he is 11. He's on the same strategy. He is 11 seconds behind this group. Edson Santos, 2 laps out on his current run. He has made it out in front of LGN and Matty Wagner, and there is that crew. And then the 2 cars that you see in the screen behind them are Will Stearns and Dylan Brannon. They are out 6 and 8 laps, respectively. Nunez and Wagner, of course, 12 laps. They are going to have to stop again. But the story is, Akash Rajesh is coming in. He's 24 laps on his current run. He's on the pit lane. That's Turner Johnson. But Mitchum going front.
Got some bad stops in pit lane.
Akash Rajesh still in the pit stall. Is that a penalty, or did he get into the pit wall?
Missed the box.
Ooh.
And then ended up reversing back up against the wall, still missed, and he had to get the car centered.
Caution is out. James Watson against the inside of the turn 1 exit wall. See if James can get the ship righted here, get that car back to pit lane, get the fast repair. I think he's going to be okay. Does not appear to have lost a lap. The pace car is behind him. And let's see what has happened to James Watson. He's going to sail it off into turn 1. Nobody around him, Ryan.
Yeah, just lost it on his own.
Doesn't catch the apron, just snaps loose with him on exit. He fought it. I thought he was going to save it there for a minute, but the back end finally comes around, and James Watson goes for the long slide, kind of just kisses the inside wall with the right front. So James is going to bring it back to pit lane, and I'm sure that's going to be a fast repair for James Watson. Well, maybe not. It looks... Look at that car. It doesn't look like it's crabbing or doing anything weird. There's no obvious wing damage to it. He might just get a new front wing and keep on trucking.
That should be fine with the new wing.
Should be. So we'll reset it here for you. Nick Wheeler is the leader. He had not stopped yet. So he and Scott Schrader, Baron Glover, they were in the danger zone. They are going to all head for pit lane. Still not quite in the window where we think we can make it. 25 laps was the longest that anybody had gone. And some of that had yellow in it. We're going to have Santos leading it from LGN and Dylan Brannon. Matty Wagner pulls his car on the pit lane. Scott Schrader, Will Stearns, James Watson, Baron Glover, all on pit lane. So Santos is going to stay out. He's going to roll the dice We thought he was going to be close. What, 6 to 8 laps maybe he needs?
Yeah, about that amount. I think maybe 9 to really be sure he can make it.
That's an awful big ask. He's going to need at least 1, if not 2 more yellows, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, at this point, you're right.
As you see, 5 laps on the current stint for Edson Santos. Started on the outside pole. Very, very, very fast Brazilian. And that Lerner Energy team, very familiar. Rafael Eckert, of course, runs out of that same stable. Well-known figure in the IndyCar Oval Wars on iRacing for sure. But so is Edson Santos. A very quick guy, very respectful guy. Good to see him up front. LGN running at second. He's been out there 15 laps. He is going to have to stop again. There's no question. Dylan Brannon is third. Dylan is going to have a stop again. He's been out 11 laps. Josh Cruz will have to stop again, out 5 laps. And then you've got Mason Mitchum, and Mitchum darting back into the pit lane. He's going to want even more fuel. Anybody else going to come with him? Akash Rajesh is going to pull it back down pit lane. These guys are definitely of the school of thought, we're going to try to make it.
Yeah, that's the only reason why you would come in again, to get that extra lap at this point in the race.
What is it about Pocono that always seems to breed fuel mileage races, you think?
Probably the speeds and also the length of the track. A lap here is so long. I think on the clock it's about 41 seconds.
Yeah, it's huge. 41. Dylan Brandon fastest lap 41:111. That's hauling it on a 2.5 miler. You know, you're doing what? That's 2:18 ish for a lap.
Yes.
It's pretty fast. And this is going to be one of those weird deals too, because the guys that have stopped, they're going to be trying to go as slow as possible. The farthest anybody's made it is 25 laps to a tank full, and that was Mason Mitchum. They're going to have 26 to go when they take the green flag. So those cars are going to be trying to champion balloon-footed around here. Meanwhile, Edson Santos and Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Dylan Brandon, those guys are going to go as hard as possible. They know they're going to have to stop one more time. Green flag is up.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out. Racing resumes here at Pocono. Gosh, love that fisheye view. The whole track, you can see it almost. Haul it down into turn 1, Edson Santos. Nunez second, Brandon third. Brandon, as you see from the purple number next to his name, fastest lap of the race. He's going to come under fire from Josh Cruz going down the Long Pond Straight. Cruz will take third going into turn 2, maybe not. Be careful, boys. And we gotta show that, and I gotta go back and do it, and I gotta do it from Dylan Brannon's standpoint. So he's getting the dirty air from the cars in front. Josh Cruz is getting it worse. See Josh Cruz. Now watch. Josh is going to go down inside here, and he's thinking, man, I got this pass made. And he gets a face full from Santos and Nunez and just absolutely cannot turn the car.
Yeah, and you have to immediately make an adjustment. You can't panic, because if you panic, you end up in the wall.
Is that tools? Is it Andy roll bars? Is it weight jacker? Talk me through what you're going to do there.
Well, in terms of, in this context, an adjustment for me is just simply realizing that you're gonna go through dirty air. So you have to start to ease up off the gas, put a little bit more steering input, just so you know you can make it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a quick jacker, that's where I start reaching and holding the button, just to try to get as much rotation off the right rear. But you're right. I mean, about the only adjustment you can make there, Ryan, is your right foot. You just have to back out of it and hope the car bites before you get into the guy next to you.
And since the patch, you can't even do that anymore with the quick jacker because you can't make an adjustment mid-corner anymore.
Well, you can with the weight jacker. You cannot with the roll bars.
Okay.
Santos has opened up quite a gap now over LGN. He's 0.6 of a second ahead. Edson has found a gear that seems to me nobody else has. He was almost 0.3 of a second quicker than LGN that time, and Luis has the draft. So that tells me that Edson Santos is not planning on stopping again either, or he's planning on stopping again rather.
Yeah, where either put a green flag stop really late in the race, or maybe just coming in the next caution. It's clear that he's going to come in.
Now for the people watching, and we do have a lot of people watching the stream concurrently right now, 22 viewers, and we do thank you for that. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the page. YouTube analytics being what they are, as we watch Matt Wagner go to the outside of Nick Wheeler. YouTube analytics being what they are. Either one of those things is extremely appreciated. That pushes our stream higher up. The more subscribers, the more views we get, the higher up in the hierarchy we go, and we would definitely appreciate that. So if you could, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are 79 laps complete, working to 80 of 100 at Pocono. One of the guys that I kind of wanted to highlight here, it's 8th place Matt Wagner. Now this is one of the cars that's been out for 7 laps. That group is led by Will Stearns. And I'm going to go on board the roll bar of Matt Wagner just to illustrate what you might be doing if you're trying to save fuel. Now, he's got quite a bit of a gap to the car in front, but you're riding on top of the roll hoop of that 89 machine. Not a lot of coast going into turn 1. Shane Coker goes high. Will Stearns up in the air into the inside wall. Oh. Will Stearns, a hard impact.
All right, man.
Caution is out on the speedway. Poor Will Stearns. So you see him, he's following Shane Coker. They're going to go down into turn 1, and they're pretty close together here. Get a different angle on it. Pretty close together. We've got Turner Johnson behind him, it looks like. Coker's going to slide up, and Shane Coker I don't think he got the wall, but he got really loose, and poor Will had nowhere to go.
It reminds me a lot of the incident we saw in real life at the end of the Iowa race this year.
It does. We're going to go back. We're going to watch it from onboard Turner Johnson, and you're going to kind of see it. Shane's going to go, and he's got a good line, but the car starts to slide loose with him. He chases it up the hill. He does a good job of saving it, but Will Stearns already in the dirty air, and he can't quite get out of his way. Maybe a little bit of net code from Turner Johnson, and off they go. It's a tough break for Will Stearns. And it begs the question, now do you stop? You can make it here from here. You can get whatever fuel you think you need. Do we stop or not stop? Strategy man.
If you don't have the fuel to make it now, stop. Because you don't know if we're getting another one of these cautions.
No, you don't. But then if you stop, you're going to bury yourself pretty deep, right?
But you have the time in the race to make it back up.
That's very true. Edson at least looks like he's going in the pit lane. He is going to make the stop, as is Luis Gonzalez Nunez. Dylan Brannon. You know who stayed out, though? The number 89 machine, Matt Wagner, remained on the speedway. So Matty Wags thinks he's got the gas to make it the rest of the way. Pretty much everybody else came to pit lane. James Watson stayed out. Scott Schrader and Baron Glover also stayed out. So Wagner, Watson, Schrader, and Glover, 1 through 4, stayed out. Santos, the first car on pit lane, but he is not the first car to leave. That's going to be Luis Gonzalez Nunez. I believe LGN, 6.8 seconds. That's awfully close to just fuel.
Yes, that is very close to just fuel.
That is. I tell you what, yeah. we've got a great thing here at our disposal. We can turn back time, Ryan. Let's see if LGN goes up on the jacks here. I'm trying to see if we can get a better angle on him. I didn't see it go up. Here we go. That is gas only for Luis Gonzalez Nunez.
That's a dangerous game. Not that it's less that you need fresh tires. It's less. It's less that you need fresh tires. It's more, are these the tires you want to be on during the closing laps of this race?
Right. That's kind of my thought too. Is this, it could be that he's out of tires. We got to think of that.
We did have a lot of stops this race.
Could be out of tires. But I don't know. I would do that if I knew I was going to be leading. I don't know if I would voluntarily do that if I knew I was going to be back in the pack, Ryan. They'll be good for a couple of laps, but then once you get heat in those used Firestones, it's going to be very difficult to maintain track position. At least in my experience, and especially with, you've got Edson Santos and Dylan Brannon, who have been the two fastest cars here. They're breathing right down your neck, and they are on brand new Firehawks.
Yeah, it is going to affect your corner exit speed, and that is pretty much life here.
It is indeed. So reset the field for you. 83 laps complete out of 100. The lights on the pace car are out. Stock car ace Matty Wagner leads it. He's followed by veteran James Watson in second. Scott Schrader third. Baron Glover fourth. Those cars did not stop under this last caution. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, LGN, is fifth. He took gas only. Edson Santos is sixth. Dylan Brannon seventh. Gary Lovren eighth. Josh Cruz ninth. Akash Rajesh is 10th. Shane Coker 11th. John Napier 12th. Mason Mitchum is 13th. Iker Peguero is 14th. Nick Wheeler 15th. And Turner Johnson 16th. All of those cars are on the lead lap. Will Stearns 1 lap down. He is back on the speedway. Greg Robinson is 18th. 3 laps in arrears. Armand Petrovic is still in the car. 58 minutes on pit road, 19th. And Cordell Lofgren has retired the number 83 machine. He will be credited with 20th. The green flag is up. The green flag is out, and racing is resumed. In the back of the field, Nick Wheeler has pulled the car onto pit lane, but we're going to stay with the battle for the lead because this is about to get fun. Luis Gonzalez Nunez is desperate to get around Baron Glover. He knows it's time to go, and I don't think it's going to be long before he tries to get around Scott Schrader as well. We're going to watch that battle because he has a rear view mirror full. LGN in the wall.
Oh, I think he held it.
He held it, but that was definitely a brush for the 14 machine. Those old tires just did not want to stick. Meanwhile, behind him, Dylan Brannon and Baron Glover are going to give it a go. LGN looks like he's going to stabilize here in fifth. And if he can just stay there, he might be okay. Edson Santos though, is going to try to go by Scott Schrader. Scott Schrader hangs tough on the outside through turn 1. He'll stay third. Santos remains fourth. Nick Wheeler comes off a pit lane. He is going to be one lap down. Watching Edson Santos in fourth. He has the freshies. The cars in front, they're 13 laps out on their current run. Are they going to be able to make it the distance on gas, and are the tires going to hold out? Santos from the top down to the bottom, going to take it to the inside on Schrader. He's going to get it going down the front straight, move Santos to third. Next up on the hit parade is James Watson. Although, Ryan, if I had to gamble, and I am a gambling man, the two cars in front of him are going to be much more difficult to pass than the one he just went by.
Yeah, they spent a lot of their time, in the heat of this race, have a lot of experience in these.
James Watson to the lead. Matty Wags tried to cross him over. Now, Santos made up a ton of time by going high that last time. James Watson and Matt Wagner are not going to give him that high line going through 3 again.
No, because when you drive defensively here in the corners, the name of the game is keeping the guys behind you in dirty air.
That's right, and you're going to see it. So Wagner going to go to the bottom, Watson going to go to the middle, and he's just basically going to place his car right where Edson Santos is. You saw him enter the corner high. That gave James Watson the ability to turn it down in the middle of the corner, and just all Edson can do is go through the jet wash, fall back a little bit, same way through turn 2. He can't quite get the run. Now, he's going to go to the bottom of Wagner.
And he's right up the inside.
Yeah, just no defense. Watson couldn't get back to the bottom fast enough. Move Edson Santos back to the lead. James Watson second. The stock car ace, Matty Wagner, goes to third. Scott Schrader hanging tough in fourth. Gary Lovern has gone to fifth, past Luis Gonzalez Nunez in sixth. Dylan Brannon has fallen to seventh. Baron Glover eighth. Mason Mitchell ninth. Josh Cruz rounds out your top 10. 88 of 100 complete here at Pocono. James Watson is trying to come back, though.
Time left. He just needs to regroup, and he'll immediately get back within a lap or two.
The good news for James and Matt both is that their tires, one, they weren't that old, but the other thing is they're both very, very smart. And this is, I just got done running the Dark Horse 2,000-mile ride as a teammate to Matty Wagner. I and Mark Cohn. Caution is out. Will Stearns, Turner Johnson involved.
Oof.
So let's see what we've got here. The race around Shane Coker. Stearns is already a lap down. He's already used his fast repair. Just two cars going for one spot. I don't think Will saw him, and I don't think Turner Johnson realized Will didn't see him. Both of them hard into the outside wall going into turn 1.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You see it happen often in the official series race at Pocono because the straight's so long, and you think he'd cover someone off when they go for a move like that. But if you leave that gap there, someone's going to go for that door.
Yeah, and tough break for Turner Johnson. He's just like Will Stearns used his fast repair. The right front is broken on the number 91, and so Turner Johnson gonna bring it back to pit lane. I don't think they're gonna be able to fix that one. Usually that's day done. Turner Johnson just gonna stop it right before the pit exit. The other thing.
We have an incident under caution.
Akash Rajesh. What have we here? Rajesh going down the Long Pond straightaway. He's got the 22 of Josh Cruz in front of him. I don't rightly know what happened there. Let's go on board with
Lost
Rajesh.
It under braking.
It didn't look like they hit, did they? I see. So Josh Cruz, was just slowing down under caution. Rajesh misjudged the closing rate. He hit the brakes. The tires are hot. Too much rear bias. Around he goes and straight into the fence. So Rajesh is going to make it back to pit lane. Now, he does have the fast repair. And what we've learned about fast repair, is that even if you're out of tires, it's going to give you a new set. So Rajesh is going to be at the back, but we know he's going to have a fresh set of tires. There he goes. Car pops back into place, and away he goes. Going to be at the back of the line, but Akash Rajesh has been a rocket. He'll have a chance here. We're going to have, 8-lap shootout, Ryan?
Yes, I believe so.
Will Stearns says he's apologizing to everybody. And tip of the hat to Will, always a good sport. It was good to see him win that race at Chicagoland. Will and I have had some good discussions on social media, and so I'm really happy to see Will Stearns running good. And that's all right, Will. It happens. It's racing, and load her up and try again next week, my friend. Here's somebody out there burning fuel. I wonder who that is. Dylan Brannon, maybe? He's pretty high up on the revs. Gone through the whole field here looking for who's dumping the fuel off. You can hear it. If you're under caution, you can hear guys burning fuel off because you'll hear cars pinging off the rev limiter. And what they'll do is they'll push in the clutch, rev it as high as it can go. And what that does is it burns the fuel off at race pace while you're under caution. You do that because fuel is heavy. The ethanol these cars use weighs, 50% more than gasoline, Ryan? Something like that?
Yeah, roughly.
And so gasoline in and of itself is heavy. Alcohol-based fuels are heavier still. And so if you can burn some of that away, if you don't need it, that's weight. Weight does what, Ryan?
Weight slows you down.
That's right. So even if you can make your car, a pound or two lighter, that can be a big advantage when it comes down to this. Now, you want to be careful of two things. One, you don't want to leave yourself short. The other two things are you don't want to blow up the motor, because you can do that, and we hear somebody still doing it. And the other thing is you want to be careful when you get off the clutch, because you don't want to pull a me at Texas in a broadcasted race while you're leading and turn the car dead right into the wall at the start-finish line and cost yourself, Pablo Diaz-Francis, and others the race. That was my second most embarrassing moment, and that one was televised.
So yeah, there's a record. You could probably, if you're out there, you probably go back and find the recording of it.
That's right. If anybody wants to see me pull one of the all-time dumbest moves in iRacing, you can go back and look through the Raceverse archives. It's there, just straight hooked it right into the fence under yellow, in front of the field. Gary was a lot kinder to me than I would have been. At any rate, we're coming back to 8 to go. 23 people watching, and we do want to thank you out there. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe buttons. Support the page. Support the stream. Green flag is out. Racing is going to resume. Santos leads Wagner and Watson. All of the W's following Edson Santos down to the bottom. Schrader is fourth, and Gary Lovern going to make the move to the outside, trying to take fourth off of Scott Schrader. Didn't quite have the steam to make it. Gonna cross him back over to the inside. I am kind of surprised that LGN didn't pull in there and at least affect his fast repair.
Yeah, at this point in the race, fast repair is pretty much a free stop.
Yeah, unless maybe it was netcode and we got a battle brewing for the lead. Unless it was netcode and maybe he's thinking, Either that or maybe he's thinking it's not worth the track position. He'll never make it up. But LGN soldiers on. He is now 5th. The battle for the lead, though, is hot and heavy. Matty Wagner going back to the outside of Edson Santos. Headed for the tunnel, Ryan.
Ooh, they're side by side.
Now, when they get to turn 3, Santos is going to surge ahead just by virtue of having the inside. Wagner is going to have a titanic run on the corner exit, though.
Does he have the rush room to close that gap and get a launch?
Santos all the way down to the inner part of the front straightaway, down to where the checkers are painted. Wagner to the outside. Again, Santos going to edge ahead. Wagner going to have the better of him on corner exit. Here's going to come the run. And Santos is doing absolutely the right thing. 6 laps to go. He's guarding the inside. He's going to make Wagner drive around him.
And that is especially difficult on the on turn 2 at Pocono. The other corners, it's less important considering how long the front straight is.
It is. Now, I would like everybody to note here that Matty Wagner is leaving Edson Santos a ton of room going through these corners. That is going with 5 to go. He's probably still going to be giving him room. But we're going to see the stock car race start to pinch Edson Santos down a little bit. He's going to start running him, and Matt does. No, he didn't. He almost got to the inside there, but he's going to start pinching him down a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more in the middle of the corner on exit, and making Santos lift. He's not going to do it now because he's afraid of what?
Netcode.
That's right. You don't want a netcode. These cars are very sensitive to that. It is, after all, IndyCar's grafted into a stock car simulation, and we are moving 40 to 50 miles an hour faster than the Cup cars do around here. Netcode is a thing. So Matt's going to give him plenty of room. When it gets down to the last lap, though, you're not going to be able to fit a sheet of paper between those two cars.
Let's see, can he get clear before 2?
Almost.
No.
But he doesn't quite pinch him off either.
Yeah, because you really don't know how far up the track the inside car is going to arc up.
You don't. And Edson, to be fair, he's not.
Oh, 2 cars in the wall in 3.
It's Lovern and Dylan Brannon. We've got others involved. That's Josh Cruz. I saw Luis Gonzalez Nunez falling through the field. But the brunt of that was Dylan Brannon. And we're going to get back and see what we can see on Dylan Brannon's machine here. So Gary Lovern gets the dirty air from James Watson, slides up the racetrack. Nothing for Dylan Brannon there. Lovern gets into him, and then Josh Cruz just
Wow's right in there.
Yeah, that's tough. We'll go back and watch it from Cruz's perspective. So you see the 2 cars ahead. He can't turn it. Look, the wheel's all the way hard locked over, and he cannot turn it. And just, there's nowhere for him to go. Cruz takes a hard impact, and then Baron Glover was behind all this. And we'll see what happens to Baron, because I thought I saw his wing askew, maybe. No, he gets through it. Okay, so Baron Glover is going to be okay. Go back and watch Luis Gonzalez Nunez. So the 2 cars, the 3 cars are already dead in front of Luis. What a job of evasive maneuvering from the veteran. That's almost worth. That's worth another look. Let's watch it from the top of the number 14 here. Wow. So LGN weaves his way through the wreckage. He did lose a spot, so he's back to 6th, but undamaged. Meanwhile, back to live action. Are we going to get...
No.
We are not. So this is the race. The lights are still on the pace car with 2 to go. We're going to get the white flag this time by. It'll be Edson Santos in the lead from Matty Wagner. James Watson is third. Mason Mitchum fourth. Scott Schrader will round out your top 5. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, LGN, is 6th. Shane Coker is 7th. Akash Rajesh is 8th. Iker Peguero 9th. Nick Wheeler is going to round out your top 10. John Napier is 11th. Baron Glover 12th. Gary Lovern 13th. Josh Cruz 14th. Well, those positions are changing now. Josh Cruz is on the pit lane. Gary Lovern, recognizing the situation, has stayed out. So Baron Glover 12th. Gary Lovern 13th. And there is the 29 machine, and it doesn't look all that worse for wear, does it?
No, not at all.
That's surprising. He did come to pit lane. He did not affect his fast repair. So whatever damage was on that car was fixable within the lap. But the story today is going to be the win from Edson Santos, the fine podium run from stock car ace Matty Wagner, and James Watson is going to get himself onto the podium for the first time this season in the NASR votive Boomer Button Boxes IndyCar Series.
Yeah, they all have to do is just complete this final lap under caution.
And as we've seen, that's not always a given, is it?
Yeah, it's not always a given. Thankfully, I believe everyone has enough fuel to make it, so they should be fine.
Edson, of course, is going to get messed with a little bit by Matty Wagner. That's kind of the signature move from the driver of the 89. James Watson very smartly staying away from whatever Matt is about to do. And you'll find this kind of funny. We were messing around in the dark horse practice here in the 2,000-mile ride, and Matt Wagner got me to set the all-time Dallara DW12 altitude record going down the front straight into turn 1. I managed to clear the pine trees at corner entry, if you can believe that, Ryan.
That is ridiculous to get a car up that high.
Left the ballpark. Are the trees still here in this version of the track?
Yeah, the trees are still here, but obviously the catch fence is now there because, back before the renovations were made to this place, down the Long Pond stretch, there was no catch fence. You could just literally go flying off the track into the trees.
That is very true. The catch fence here only existed along the front straight until 2000. Oh, golly, when was the renovation? 2000. What?
I want to say 4 or 5.
Yeah, it didn't have the other track that people don't realize that didn't have a catch fence. And Edson Santos has come across the line to win it. Wagner second, Watson third. We'll keep the picture. We'll keep the picture on Edson Santos for whatever he would like to do to celebrate, and he's gonna do some donuts and otherwise do damage to the number 78. But the other track that always boggled my mind that really didn't have any safety catch fencing was Talladega.
They just assumed if you had an accident bad enough to go over, there was going to be nothing on the other side for you to fall into.
They had cars that left the ballpark there. They had cars that left the ballpark there on several occasions. The one that comes to mind immediately is Rick Mast, and it was like 1991, 92. He went outside. Stanley Smith, I believe, was involved in that. They landed next to some guy sitting on his pickup truck enjoying a refreshment, if memory serves. He looked up, and there was a NASCAR Chevrolet right with him. At any rate, we're gonna get ready to do some interviews here. You guys don't want to hear about Stanley Smith and flipping out of Talladega. That is the car of James Watson, and we're gonna get him in here if he is available. to the interview room we go. And you know who we have in the waiting room? Let's bring up James Watson. James, Mark Murphy, Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I sure do.
Well, it's good to see you in this race, man. We haven't seen much of you in a while. Matter of fact, it's been, to my eye, it's been, oh golly, almost a year since I've raced against you. But you show up and man, you're on the podium 2 races in. How about that?
Yeah, it's nice, and it's kind of weird because, like, yeah, I kind of retired from the car because I don't know, I just felt like I was getting I was starting to kind of stagnate and getting better in the car, and becoming the Stingray Rob of Lionheart is a bit of a humbling experience, but had some open time these last couple of weeks and figure it's like, let's hop into the IR18 for old time's sake, and all of a sudden now I actually look competent in the car for once in a long time. It feels kind of weird, but really nice.
Well, and you got some good buddies racing with you too. You know, Matty Wagner's along. We ride him about being the stock car driver, but it's always good to have one of your teammates along. Kind of tell us about your day.
Yeah, well, first of all, I was gobsmacked to get the pole. I was like, only like my 4th or ever pole in the IR18, and Pocono has never been one of my better tracks, so I did not expect to be here. So yeah, I fell back down early on purpose because I wanted to fuel save, and then everyone just started getting real racy. I'm like, I do not feel safe, so I just gunned it back to the front as best as I could. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't know if the temperature started to increase, but man, in the dirty air, I could just not keep connecting to anyone. I was just struggling with the air wash so bad. That's why you saw me lose a lot of spots more towards the middle pack of the race, or middle stint of the race. And thankfully, with how the cautions fell, also me bringing my own caution out like an idiot, everything kind of fell into place a little bit. Was able to stay out on that last caution when everyone came in, and was just able to. Thankfully, I with that I got just enough clean air to be able to hold on and keep the podium. But yeah, it was awesome, sharing an IndyCar with Wags again. Wags and I still race a bunch in a 79 league, but it's been a while since him and I have been together in a IR18 race. He's taught me so much, and I'm 1,000 times better driver, having him on my team and being able to work with him and get the metric ton of knowledge that he's got, and being able to see my other teammate Scott Schroeder also bring home a top 5. It's a awesome points day for the guys, and just awesome to feel competitive on this car again and feel like I belong on the track driving it.
Absolutely. Ryan, you have anything for 3rd place finisher James Watson today?
If I had to ask one question, it'd probably be, how did you go into the race thinking about fuel strategy? Because the thing with, whether it be Pocono or any other super speedway, pit strategy is important, and we got tossed a lot of curveballs today.
Yeah, I knew I knew that we were going to be like about a lap and a half short of making it 25, 25, 25. So it was that's why I tried to fall back early to save fuel. But with how everyone else was racing, I'm like, no one else is saving fuel, and I really don't want to be back in its hornet's nest. So, it does like it's gonna be a moot point if no one fuel saves and makes it to lap 25, and then that's when the caution started coming, and then it just kind of becomes a bit of a guessing game with how your fuel is gonna be. When do you want to pit? When do you want to stay out? And what happens if you don't? And so on and so forth. So That's why I love when it gets to strategy races like this, because there so many different things can happen. You you just have to make the best, educated guess you can, and hope it works out. And somehow it ended up working out.
Gotcha,
Completely
gotcha.
understandable.
Gotcha, James. Well, I tell you what, my friend, it's been a while since you've been up in the broadcast booth for certain. You got any friends, family, teammates? Obviously, there's one that you'd like to shout out to, and I have to compliment you. Whether it's racing against you or broadcasting, I cannot miss your car. It reminds me so much of those like late '80s Menards machines, highlighter yellow and bright green and pink. I can't miss it. So. Awesome paint job you got. But any friends, fans, sponsors, anybody out there you'd like to give a shout out to this evening?
Yes, sir. Gotta all hail the Watson tricolor. Yeah, I gotta thank everyone at Team Watson and Team Watson Racing Setups. Use code WATSPIN39 for 10% off at checkout. Gotta thank Chris Graham and the National Racing Network for always sticking with me and supporting me. ZS Designs and Dizzy V Designs for putting together my paint schemes. Mart Sports Sim Racing Apparel, Boomer Button Boxes. That's Scott Schroeder's company. They make some of the best button boxes you can ever come across. Like, I absolutely love mine. Scott does a great job, and he's also just awesome dude, awesome teammate. I gotta thank my folks for watching at home, and I got a few other friends watching too. So happy to do good with them watching too.
Absolutely. Well, James Watson, it's always a pleasure to have you up in the booth. Keep going fast and having fun, my friend.
Here's hoping. Cheers, guys.
Yes, sir. So that is James Watson. He is the third place runner today. We'll get the replay queued back up. And we'll bring in stock car ace Matty Wagner. Matt, second today for you. One more step. Tell us how you got there. You started fourth, and it was eventful from there.
Yeah, it was very eventful how I got there. So, I was a little scared on fuel. The fuel is kind of really tricky here at Pocono. I was kind of debating on, because of the number of cautions we've been getting, so I could save a number of laps on fuel to get to the very top. Hang on one second. I hear myself in the broadcast.
We don't want that, Matt. We want you to hear us, not yourself. As long as you don't answer yourself, that's the main thing.
Yeah, that I really don't want to do. So I'm one of the few who listen to the broadcast and race at the same time and type. So anyway, I caught a little bit of a break passing James with about, I will say, what was it, 8 to go at least? 8 to go. He did not. I was quite surprised he didn't run the top lane, keeping way with Edson, but he was really struggling with the car. I was trying to give him a few pointers there, but I'm guessing his bar settings, was pretty much not agreeing with him what he was doing. Maybe possibly a little bit more jacker than you're supposed to have running in clean air, because it'll make the car unstable. So it was quite fun racing with Santos there at the end. Fortunately, that yellow kind of ended it. The lap prior, on lap 99, I was going to lag back a little bit and get a little run on Santos there. But overall, second is not bad on my first race here.
No, absolutely not. And welcome to the series, by the way. You only have one more step on the podium to go to get the win. Ryan, do you have anything for stock car ace Matty Wagner?
Oh God, here we go.
Not really. You drove a great race today. I'd say, how much of a shot at the win do you think we had if, say, we had 3 more laps?
If we would have gone green for the rest of the way,
yeah,
I would have felt really confident. I have very confident in my ability that would have made the correct run and the move to get by Edson. All I had to do was so me and Edson ran side by side for maybe 5 straight laps, and it pushed back the field. So I have enough room for me to lag back a little bit and get that edge a little bit of a run. That was my plan with 2 to go, but unfortunately the caution came out. I think Guido came out a winner if that caution came out though overall.
The other thing I was going to ask you, Matt, and we were watching it, I noticed you and Edson were giving each other a lot of room, and I'm going to ask him the same question. Was there a thought of making that wide space between the two cars a little bit closer as it came down to money time?
Yeah, I get a little scared with Santos with their being from Brazil, where he's at the netcode with his high ping.
Right.
So that scares me a little bit. So the rule of thumb is for myself, if I race anybody from out of the country, I tend to give a little bit more room than I'm supposed to, because you do not want to catch netcode here. Your day will be over. Because him being on the inside and me being on the outside, I am 100% going to eat the wall.
Yeah. No, I just wondered if the plan was to tighten it down as it came closer to the checkers. Well, great run today. P2, always good to be running up front. You got any sponsors, friends, family that you would like to shout out to this evening? The floor is yours, sir. Always dangerous to give you the floor, by the way, but it is yours.
Shout out to my friend Budweiser. I've been drinking you for about pretty much all night. He's my best friend right now. So shout out to TWRS Setups, them and James Watson. Great bunch of guys. I've been running them for years and years to come. I've been thankful for them, and James has done a lot for me. Shout out to you guys in P1 Broadcasting. You, Gary, everybody, Ryanair King, all of y'all. You all do a fantastic job each and every single weekend. I greatly appreciate you guys. Keep up the great work. And other than that, I'd like to thank Shane for the invite for here for this very nice little league he runs here. This is quite the thing he has got going on here. It's quite the spectacle, man. It's a lot to learn. Maybe next week I'll get to learn, some of the drivers and get to talk to them more and hopefully build up some relationships and race with these guys more.
Absolutely. Well, always good to see you, Matt. Always a friend to me, and look forward to running more races with you when Dark Horse starts back up. Keep going fast and having fun, my friend. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
All right, that is stock car ace Matty Wagner. He is the winner, or he is second place in tonight's Pocono Boomer Button Boxes NASR Pocono 250. And with that, we're going to go ahead and bring up the winner, Edson Santos. Edson, congratulations on a fine run this evening. You started on the outside pole. You weren't always there. You went from the back to the front. There were some differing strategies involved. Tell us about your day, my friend.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Ryan. Good evening or good night. I don't know. Happy to be here. Yeah. First of all, in the first race in this league, I had no look at all, and so today was a little bit frustrated in the beginning because in lap 6 or 7, a car with a lot of understeering crossed in front of me and turn 1 and hit my nose, got the pit lane, so wasn't last place and waiting for a yellow. And when the yellow came, I could put myself back in the fight, the picture. Yeah, there were different strategies. It's pretty interesting. I was trying not to lose the main pack. There was a very good long stint, and with 2 cars, Matt and Nunes, if I'm not mistaken, went to the pit, and I stayed in the track in P1, but with a pretty nice gap, something around 3 or 4 seconds for the second place. Yeah, the yellows came, and in the end, so it was pretty annoying, this yellow, but I think in the one of them, I got to the pit and had the advantage of having new tires, and I was being able to gain some positions. In the end, I was sticking to the inside line as much as I could, even slowing down a little bit in the corners to avoid hitting the outside car. In the end, it was pretty exciting. Thanks, Matt, for the fight. Pretty clear. So we talked in the interview room in lap 96. I squeezed in a little bit in the back straight, but not damage. There was room to move. Yeah. If he had won, it would have been deserved to. Well, so I'm happy for this win in my favorite track.
Very good. Well, thank you, Edson. Ryan, do you have any questions for our winner this evening?
No, you pretty much perfectly described your day out there. It seemed like once you had the lead, you had solid control over, and there was not that much that the guys behind you could do.
So the most moments here, I was trying to get the outside line and turn 1 and turn 3 in order to save tires. And the pretty nice place to gain some positions. It was the back straight. I was saving tires and waiting the good moments to go ahead. Obviously, I was in the bottom after that incident that I mentioned in the lap 7. But well, in the end, with new tires, I could get this win, and I'd like to dedicate for my entire team here in Brazil, Linear Energy.
Absolutely, and always colorful, always beautiful. Your guys' cars are. Do you have any friends, family, sponsors? I know you mentioned Linear Energy, but anybody out there watching you'd like to give a shout out to? Edson, you're the winner. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. So first of all, for my family, of course, my wife, my children. I have three of them, and one of them is studying in Indianapolis. So she's there.
Well, you got to come visit. If you get a kid in
Yeah, yeah.
in Indiana, you got to come see me and Gary.
Oh my gosh, it's pretty nice. So I was there in May. I watched the race. My daughter is studying IUPY, and so next one I'm gonna visit you and another guys.
Absolutely.
So in a warm hug for all my teammates in Brazil. Some of them are watching the race here in the broadcast. So in the warm hug for all of you from the broadcast. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Edson. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Great race out there today. Go celebrate, and we will see you next week, my friend. Keep going fast and having fun.
Yeah, thank you very much. See you then.
Yeah, you're more than welcome, Edson. That's the winner, Edson Santos. Ryan, what are your final thoughts from Pocono as we exit this evening?
We called it like it was at the start of the day, where it was going to be about, pit strategy and track position. But we had no idea the trip we were going to take to that finish line today. There were way more cautions than I thought there were going to be today.
Yeah, and that's for sure. I can't underscore how much fun these series are where, there's a little bit of short fuel, there's limited tire sets. You really got to kind of manage your day, and you're not really sure how it's going to go when it starts. You can plan all you want, but even the best laid plans are never going to survive first contact with the enemy. And so that's where that's where I just absolutely love these races. Shane's done such a great job in creating an environment where you never quite really know what's going to happen next. As for me, I can't be more proud of everybody that ran today. We had a great show. Matty Wagner and Edson Santos staged a duel that was second to none, all the way to the final caution. I'd like to thank everybody that watched. We had great engagement in the chat. Some of the drivers checked in. We had guys from other series looking in on us. And even Amy Coker and Mace Katir. Want to thank everybody that checked in with us in the chat. Keep doing that. Keep hitting the like button on the stream. Keep subscribing to the page. Those things all absolutely help us out. As always, we'd like to thank the first responders, the military, the police, the firefighters, the paramedics, everybody that keeps us safe while we sleep soundly in our beds at night. I am Mark Murphy for Ryan Eric King, P1 Broadcasting. So long from Pocono. We will see you next week.